Welcome back, everyone, for another round of Planet Nomads. Today, we are taking a look at another interesting design. This is the ASC-01B Warthog. So yes, this is the ASC-01B Warthog by creator Andreas. The ASC stands for Airborne Settlement Constructor. And basically, while this does have a lot of functionality in it that makes it its own mobile base in a certain way, it's really meant more for transporting materials to build a remote settlement, to build bases as you go along. Now, there is an original variation of this, which uses the small compact containers. This one is actually built, as you can see here on the top side, for supporting the large storage containers, and functions very much with the mover tool, where you can take a storage container, put it in place, move it around, and gives you a lot of storage capacity, but also gives you the option, if you want, to deploy a storage container to, say, one of your remote base sites, or just to, pick one up and use it as a transport tool to go to all your bases and carry all your supplies back and forth between your remote mining sites and your main base. Now, of course, speed-wise, this is a slower vessel. It does not turn very quickly, and it has a lower top speed in terms of its forward momentum, which is to be expected. I mean, when you look at cargo ships in the world today, they're not speeding across the ocean like a speedboat. They're very slow because they're weighed down with a large number of cargo containers, and that's pretty much what this is. This is a bulkier design, as you can see, because it is able to transport 20 large storage containers. So obviously, it's not exactly meant to land like a normal vessel, and more of a meant to stay airborne, kind of like one of the helicarriers that SHIELD uses, not meant to actually settle down anywhere that often. And to that end, we have nothing on the underside, like, feet, other than these little pads that kind of keep it just slightly off the ground. You see these little domes underside. That's it. Now, if you want to, you can always modify it to add larger feet to keep it more elevated, but it really is meant to stay airborne most of the time. And as I said, it does support 20 of the large storage containers, and they are conveniently outlined on where they line up. And each one actually will automatically dock in to the onboard storage connections, meaning that these will serve as storage for all the production inside, even though, you don't have to actually use these. There actually is onboard storage containers, small ones, mostly meant more for the fuel storage, which is uranium on this. These are, this is all powered by 4 uranium generators. So those of you who like deuterium generators, you can always swap things out if you want. More importantly, though, because it's uranium, it does allow you to not have to worry about stopping for water collection. So it is kind of nice as long as you get enough uranium to keep it going. And yes, take the mover tool. You can move the storage containers around as you wish, and just line them up again with clearly marked areas to dock them in, and immediately it connects in to the full storage system on the vessel, giving you access to all the printers, everything with that. Everything in the vessel can then access the storage containers. So yes, it is meant to be a mobile construction platform, but has a lot of capabilities. It has 10 medium and 10 compact 3D printers throughout the back area over here, and you see they're split that way. Of course, we do have our base building option by using the workshop, or you can just build on its whatever custom you want, because there are item dispensers placed not only inside but on the outside. Since this is a design not meant to really land that often, and it's kind of bulky, hard to get lower in some places, maybe because of trees and such, there are these booms, one on each corner section from the wings, and these are controlled by these rotating joints using the R and F keys, R to raise, F to lower. And when you lower them, you see that's going to swing around and tie it in there, basically tying it into the system. And on each end, we have an item dispenser, so you have more range to get items from the storage if you're doing a custom build of a base setup. And we have an item or a conveyor connector, meaning you can also use this to tie it in to, say, some mining rigs and let it just sit there hovering for a little while, gathering supplies such as uranium to restock your supplies on board, so your refinery can make some more, refined uranium to power the whole vessel. So inside the control room area, we do have a few switches that provide power for different things. We have, of course, air blades separated. So if you do want to land on a flat enough surface, you can turn them off. Save power. We've got climate control. If you're not needing to worry about that, then you don't have to. But we do have two of the climate AC units. We have utilities, meaning, of course, your production stuff. We have interior lights, and we have our ground light. So you actually can, when you're getting low enough to the ground, light things up. And, of course, if you're doing custom building, then having the ground light shining down during the darkest of the night will make it a lot easier to see things as you're building. On this side, we have just one switch, and that is for the main power for everything. So you can just simply turn everything off instead of worrying about just the air blades if you're going to dock it and leave it for a little while. Now, as I said, there is storage already built in on board. You saw there was one on the wall next to the main power switch. We also have two right here that are green for the uranium storage. So you can put uranium in one of these to help extend the, duration that your generators are going to run. And it gives you access, of course, right to the generators as well. And again, there are 4 generators, one on each wing section. Then you have plenty of power production switches on each side controlling these. But really, you're not going to worry about turning those on and off. Everything's meant to be controlled from up here in the main cockpit. So as I said, there are 4 booms on this. You use R to raise, F to lower, and you see how they swing out. The front ones swing inwards, and it's even mentioned that sometimes they may get stuck. And if they get stuck, just tap the key a few times, as I had to do there. You see that one to the right side. The left side of the vehicle actually did get stuck. The front 2 swing downwards and to the side. The back ones swing down and towards the rear of the vessel. And they're all 4 the same way. You have the item dispenser and the conveyor connector, giving you 2 options for how you work with these. Now, I would not recommend trying to land and have the booms used as support. I don't think it would actually cause a major issue, but there is a possibility it could mess something up. They're not, think of it from a structural standpoint. It's not going to actually work to support everything from a realistic aspect, so don't try it in the game just to make sure. So once again, this is the ASC-01B Warthog by Andreas, and it's a really cool platform design type thing. I really, it is a floating platform. That's basically what it is, but it has those cool mechanics with the booms. It has the nice fact that it can carry 20 large storage containers, and you have easy access to move them around with the move tool. At the same time, all of them connecting in to the storage system. So you can use those for, picking them up from a mining site, swap one in, take an empty one, swap it to the mining site, and keep moving, letting your 20, at least your 10 3D, medium 3D printers going automatically from that. Again, this is meant for building remote settlements, remote bases, but at the same time has a lot of production capability to do all the processing of the raw materials. It just doesn't have the mining rigs and such as that to get the raw materials on board. So compensating for that, we have the booms, lets you connect it in, use the conveyor connector on the boom to tie it into a mining site, or of course, like I said, pick up a filled storage container from a mining site, load it on, take an empty one, offload it to the mining site. You're good to keep moving. It's a really cool design, really cool implementation. Only thing I might change on it if I wanted to make it more of a mobile base would of course be add its own little feet for, like mining rigs to help give it some more footing for landing and for production. Maybe add some floating foundation elements to let it float in water if you wanted to, make it like a little water base. I don't know. It'd be something to experiment with. Maybe Andreas will produce a 3rd variation of it that does something like that. But overall, I really like the design and what it is capable of doing. All right, so that's going to be it for this episode of Planet Nomads. I hope you liked the design. And if you did, make sure to go check it out on the workshop and give a like to Andreas if you do. Of course, if you like the video, give me a like. Make sure you leave me a comment below. Let me know your thoughts on the design. And hit subscribe if you haven't done so already. As always, I'm your host, Mr. Spicy. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to keep it spicy this week, and I'll see you in the next video.